Thank you for joining the Kentucky Couple Travel Podcast. So this is season 2, episode 3. Excited to talk about this trip today. I think it's been one of my favorite trips we've taken in a long time. One of the best cruises we've ever been on, I would say, up there. And one of the largest boats in the world. It's been surpassed now by a couple, but it kind of was the boat that started this mega ship craze that you see continued really with every cruise line. And so what we're going to talk about is a trip that we took on the Oasis of the Seas. So anything just before we get started that jumps out to you?
No, I don't think so.
Just a lot bigger ship.
Yeah, definitely.
Than anything we had saw before. So just to set the background on this trip, we left out of New York City, and we went through Hersey, Pennsylvania on the way up. We stopped at the Hersey plant. Then we went to New York. We stayed in Newark, New Jersey, just not too far from the cruise terminal, Port Liberty. And I guess the one thing I remember during this time is that it was during the Canadian wildfires.
That's
and
what
it was so
smoky.
It was so smoky up north.
It kind of stopped our going into New York City.
Yeah, we were going to go to New York, but like even from across the river, you really couldn't see a lot of the big skyscrapers. It was crazy. And if you don't remember, somehow missed that, it was all over the news. You can go back and look at it. But so then we go on our trip, and the itinerary was we left out of New York. We had a day at sea. Then we were in Port Canaveral, Florida. From there, the next day we went to Nassau, and then to the private island, Coco Cay, which is Royal Caribbean's private island. And then a day or 2 days at sea on the way back. So it was a 7-night cruise. So we're there a week. And so we're going to get into it a little bit, our favorites, and then always our not so favorites. So our top 5 list, I'm actually going to skip my number 5 and let you kind of let me show some pictures here as we're kind of talking. So what they're seeing now is a picture of us by the elevators, the cruise ship, so you can see how big it is. Total, about 10,000 people are on this ship.
Yeah.
About 7,000 passengers, 3,000 crew members. So just huge. And it's just huge. And so we had a balcony room. So the way our room was set up, king size bed, and they'll see some pictures here in a few moments, but it was a king size bed, a couch, small bathroom, closet, and then our balcony. So you like having balconies?
Yeah.
When we can, if it's not outrageous, we usually
mostly
try
for me, especially like if you're going somewhere like either, which I guess is kind of both, but I liked it when we were in Alaska because of what you've seen, and then I like it when it's warm like that because it reminds me of like staying like on the beach.
On the beach, yeah.
So you can kind of sit out there. I like to sit out there at night.
Yeah. I think you kind of read and stuff.
Yeah, I like a little bit of that fresh air. It's nice.
It is nice. The one thing I will say, and this is different cruise ship to cruise ship, it wasn't an issue on this boat, but especially some older ships, if you're staying in a balcony, sometimes you're going to a warm weather climate, it can be hard to cool those rooms down.
Yeah.
So you really, during the day when you're not going out there, you want to keep those blinds closed.
That's one of the things I dislike probably most about cruise ship cabins is
temperature.
Yeah, that one wasn't as bad.
No, this one
still
was really
isn't
good.
as cool as we like it, probably.
Yeah.
But the fan that we take helps.
Yeah, we have a really nice fan that'll fit in a suitcase, and it's good size. Yeah, definitely. Fan. Yeah, and I've never done that because I never want to rely on someone else, but I've heard you can always ask your room steward for a box fan and they'll bring you one. So they have some on the ship, but we've never done that.
We don't like to test it. I like it to be cool.
We like to know. We may have to do that next time just to make sure that works. And then, as you see here, you leave pulling out right by the Statue of Liberty. And I think that's cool. That adds a little something to it. This is as we're pulling out. So a lot of that smoke had lifted from the day before. You can still see a little hazy there in the sky. It's kind of hovering above the the skyscrapers and stuff in this picture, but the day before you couldn't see into the
Mm-mm.
city. It would have been horrible for that. So let's start this one with our dislikes.
Okay.
Okay.
Different.
That way we're ending on a positive. For me, far and away, worst thing I've ever experienced on a cruise ship. The Cat's Play on Oasis of the Seas was terrible.
I forgot about that.
Now, the Oasis class ships are, I guess now, the second largest cruise ship class in the world. And so all of these Oasis class ships, so this is thing I think, I'm not positive, but the Oasis was the first. Then you have things like the Allure, the Symphony of the Sea. So these are some huge ships. All about 10,000 people. But they all have a Broadway play. And it just so happens Oasis is Cats. And I don't think
I've never
it had
seen the original.
No, I don't think it had anything to do with the boat or the cast. I think it's just the play.
It's just not really our style, I guess.
Terrible.
Yeah,
it's stupid. They're crawling around on stage
it's
in
just
these
hard
cat
'cause
outfits.
this is weird.
I mean, I understand the premise.
Some people probably love it, and that's fine if you do.
I'm not ignorant, but I understand. But
if you love it, you love it.
It just doesn't strike me as great. We've seen Broadway plays,
Mm-hmm.
several. We've seen Lion King.
I've seen Rent.
You saw Rent, which is another different one. And then
Wicked.
We saw Wicked. So we saw all these. We saw some off Broadway. We were able to see my mind's on blank.
It's the Nutcracker.
To Kill
a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
My favorite.
So all these are high end productions, but this was terrible.
It was different.
We actually left about 3/4 of the way. Or no, we left during there's an intermission. And like the first half was like an hour, so
I blocked it out.
Oh, it's bad.
Blocked it out.
So yeah, this is actually, you can see kind of how elaborate the stage is. The picture that you're seeing, this is directly from the Royal Caribbean website, and this is on the Oasis of the Sea. So yeah, that's my least favorite. Now yours, I think we're gonna get into a little more comedy here. Go ahead and say yours before I switch the picture here.
I just hated that we stopped at Nassau. It's a great ship, and I feel like we could have went somewhere a little different.
Yeah. So I guess 90% of cruises that go to the Bahamas go to Nassau. That's kind of
I guess
that's
central.
their capital.
Yeah.
That's kind of the hub for the Bahamas economy, is that tourism that comes into Nassau.
I wish that boat was going to like New England. Probably or somewhere else, because
the Bahamas,
I guess we've been to the Bahamas so many times, and I just feel so hustled when we go, and
so
it's not we did get hustled.
There's two pictures showing here. One is of the hustle, and two is of pulling in to Atlantis, that little island. You see Atlantis there.
That's nice. Maybe we could check that out sometime.
And I think Atlantis even been passed by some other major resorts now, even bigger.
Because we're really there, like because
you're there a day,
and
few
just
hours.
Kind of around that one area. It was pouring the rain,
and I would say it's better now that they've got the new cruise port. It's really nice because you don't have to actually go out into the city if you don't want to. So I think there's less hustle.
I do like that, but there wasn't a whole lot open yet. There was some.
Yeah, there was still kind of under construction. I think that's completely done now. I actually watched a video yesterday. I think it was $300 million, that new cruise port. So it's really nice. But anytime you go, expect it to be crowded, because there's always at least two ships. I've never been when it's just us.
No.
And usually 3, 4, 5, even 6 ships. There's just
of all
it's
kinds.
Huge port. Yeah, you're going to see.
I've seen Disney, Royal Caribbean, Carnival. It's just
all of them.
Yeah.
They're all there. I think I would be surprised if any American cruise line, like of the big one. Now we're not talking about like your luxury ones, obviously, but like your major cruise lines, these mega ships, they're all going to Nassau.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to let you tell the story. And so just to set the scene, and we'll talk about this a little more later. This trip we went with, it was me and Whitney and my family, my mom, dad, my brother Cheston, his wife Tiffany, and our niece Ellie, and then some of our closest friends, Tim and Brandy. So we're all together, and most of them stay on the boat because we've been to Nassau. My whole family, they've been kind of been there, done that. Tim and Brandy, was this their first cruise? I know it was Tim's.
Yeah, I think so.
Brandy may have been on one.
No,
she's been on some since.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was their first, and we're like, well, they've never been to Nassau. Let's go, do up the town with them. And so we got off, and I'm going to let Whitney tell the story.
Well, I've always wanted to do like some type of braids or something because there's always people there when you get off the boat offering to do like braids in your hair or beads and stuff. And I always thought that was pretty cool, and I just never had done it. I just didn't think it would look good on me anyway. But so we were coming back to the boat, and Brandy and me get together, and we'll try a lot of things. We talk each other into stuff, shopping, all kinds of good stuff. But I had seen the sign, and it said $5 per braid or whatever. It said
the sign said. I wish I had a picture. I'm sure you could find it online. But it said, entire head was, I think, $200 some dollars.
Yeah.
Half your hair was $150. Single braid $5.
Yeah. So I thought Brandy and I would
just try it.
Yeah, we'll try it. And I just wanted like one braid, that I could just kind of, it's island.
One strand of hair.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted.
Just.
Yeah. And
just for like, just like a little strand.
A little more than that probably, but I wanted some like up under the hair, but and they kind of wrap it and they put like a bead. So Brandy and I are like so excited and giddy, and we sit down in this chair, and these ladies are just talking to us, and I'm sure they're thinking super, super crazy. They probably thought these poor people here, they're naive, but we were. So, but anyway, so she gets a friend, they come and do our hair. We're sitting there laughing and having a good time, and she gets out and she pulls a ruler out to measure our hair, and she measures mine at 11 inches and tells me that I owe $55, I think it was.
Yeah, $5 an inch.
So it was, $5 an inch. So we had one piece of hair braided with a bead and some color wrap for $55. And
each.
Yeah, each. Yeah, it wasn't just her or me. It was both of us. It was $55 each. And
cash only.
Cash only. We didn't have any cash with us.
Tim did.
Clifton and I carry credit card mostly. So poor Tim, we were like, we're desperate. We're desperate. Do you have any cash? So, because that woman was like, there's an ATM. But we were like, so Tim had cash, and we ended up paying it back, and it was all good. But Brandy and I just were like laughing, and we just like, we were completely hustled in the Bahamas.
Yeah, got hustled.
We fell for it.
So, that.
Maybe that's why I just don't want to go to the Bahamas anymore.
Yeah. So, the next one is actually.
Oh, and it was pouring the rain.
Yeah, it was pouring the rain. You can see that in the pictures there. This is pulling in. You can see the storm rolling in, and we got off the boat, and I mean, absolutely.
It's a gully washer, is what they
say. We went from like shelter to shelter running through the city.
And deep water, it was so deep.
I guess they don't get a lot of rain, so their drainage was not good. So anytime you would step across the street, you were ankle deep.
Just think about the flip-flop sandals. We were dressed for summer, and it was nasty, and it was awful. But anyway.
So I think my number 5 is actually your one. So we're going to skip that, and we'll come back to it because mine could have been higher, but I just love this trip. So let's go to our. I guess your 5, and that's going to be dining on the boat.
I was quite impressed with the dining on that boat. I'm not, strangely enough, I know a lot of people probably would disagree with me. I'm not crazy about boat food on cruises. It's not something I dislike, but it's not something I'm just like, some people, that's why they go. I always usually get tired of it after a while.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's so many options that I really enjoyed. I didn't really get tired of the food.
This ship, there was endless amounts of options. There was, a lot of specialty restaurants, a lot of restaurants that were included. Mm-hmm. And then the main dining room was great. Now, I think part of it, we were all eating together.
We had a great time. Usually the main dining room, we don't do that a lot. We usually do my time. This time we did it with our families, and we had great servers. We made friends with them. Our niece loved it. Everybody dressed up. We just had a good time together. I loved the Johnny Rockets. I actually looked back at a picture of the apple pie I'd forgotten that I was crazy about and was like, want to eat it every day. I really enjoyed that food. I loved the onion rings and all the food they had at Johnny Rockets. And I tried the barbecue, and I really loved the barbecue.
So I'm showing a lot of pictures here from the dining room. And so while you're looking at Whitney and Ellie, that's our niece. You see our main server there. That's the gentleman top right picture. He's kind of doing a little trick for my niece, and they loved her. You have a main waiter and then an assistant, and the lady there with my niece was our assistant, and they just became the best of friends.
Yeah, she loved her.
And Ellie loved her. She loved Ellie. And really, she made the trip.
Yeah.
She was great. Both of them were just fantastic, waiters, but they were great people, too. They really seemed interested in our story. We were interested in theirs. And I think they loved Ellie because she was so outgoing to try stuff. She ate, I think, every night a plate of escargot.
Yeah, which is shocking. I won't even try that. Her and Brandy.
Yeah.
And then I was impressed, like, even when we got off the boat at a perfect day or whatever at Coco, their food was good. Like, they had some really good tacos. And because I remember when we went to the one, I think was with Carnival, I didn't enjoy it. Like, the food was hard to get to.
Yep.
I felt like, I don't even know if we ever found any food there.
Coco Cay, there's a lot of places to eat.
And there's, like, buffet.
And the way it is, if you have a drink package or a food package, it's, it's all included. Like, the food is all free. And, like, if you have a soda package on the boat, it's included there.
Yeah.
Their Wi-Fi is all over. That was a really nice. I like Coco Cay.
Yeah, I did too. Did you put it on your list anywhere?
No.
Okay. But I'll say something
about
it.
I'm not a beach person.
Well, I'll say something about it really quick that I really enjoyed. Well, the crazy thing was it was storming that day, so people were having to get in and out of the water. I seen some kids that are pretty upset. But Brandy and I, Tim and Clifton went on back to the room because they just aren't crazy about the beach. But Brandy and I like it, so we stayed and we kind of laid in the chairs and stuff. And they had these awesome, they look like a trampoline that they were in. They were connected to the floor.
Like a trampoline lily pad.
Yeah, they were connected so they won't float away. But me and Brandy really loved laying out there on those. But the crazy thing, we were out there having heart-to-heart conversations, friend conversations. And then all these children came. And they just jumped on there with us. And we didn't know them, but they were right in our laps and everything. Their parents weren't really paying attention. And here comes the camera guy because they're constantly taking pictures of you that you can go view on the boat. And they were like, say cheese. So here's me and Brandy and several children we don't know. So it was very awkward, but I loved those. And I'd forgotten about Coco Cay. And if you have kids, I'm sure, I know our niece does. There's so much to do. The water slides, all that's great. And we had a really good time. I enjoyed walking around. Next time I would like to utilize the hammocks. They're very nice. Maybe that's something we can lay around on next time. But it was fun. But yeah. So Brandy and I picked up a few children on this trip. But the food was great on that island.
Okay. And I'm finding that picture for those watching to show. But
it was very awkward.
But there was a lot of other food on this just while I'm finding that. A lot of specialty dining. We didn't do any on this one outside of Johnny Rockets, which we'll talk about here in just a second.
I did the barbecue.
Yeah, you did the barbecue. You said it was great.
I loved it.
I think Tim and Brandy actually got a package and ate a couple places. They ate the main steakhouse and maybe, was it the sushi?
Yeah, and they eat barbecue with us too, I think.
Yeah.
And I think they did some sushi. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that was really good. And just while we're doing this, here's that picture. You can see, we just took it off the screen. We didn't buy a picture of some people's random kid. They have the pictures you go look at, and you see Whitney and Brandy there in that back corner, and then in front of them is all these kids. It looks just like a little family.
It was so weird, but we were just like, okay, we smiled and just let it go. Oh yeah, we're happy.
So the next thing with the dining, and we went here.
Sorry if you hear a dog in the background.
Yeah, I don't think they can. It's Johnny Rockets. So Johnny Rockets is a restaurant, you can go to probably at your local town, but also on the ship they have one. And the way it's set up, you see the menu here. You pay $9.95 to eat there. It's free at breakfast.
Yeah.
But the breakfast food is kind of what you can get other places.
Yeah.
You have a waiter. They're the nicest waiter there.
But it was just fun atmosphere. Yeah. I loved the atmosphere there.
But when you go, it's $9.95, but you get all you want.
Yeah.
So if you go, you pay $9.95 and you want 3 burgers and 2 orders of fries, they'll bring it to you. And so usually I'm hit or miss on the fries. I eat a few, so usually we share an order of fries, and I usually end up eating 2 burgers a lot of times. But I think they're really good burgers. I know a lot of people are crazy about the guys' burgers on Carnival.
I like them.
But I prefer Johnny Rockets burgers.
Yeah, I just like the options that Johnny Rockets gives.
Yeah. And like I said, they have onion rings, bacon ranch fries.
Oh, yeah.
Chicken sandwiches.
Chili fries.
Just tons.
I think that's what Tim liked. I think he liked the chili cheese fries or whatever.
Yeah. But so I think we ate there twice for lunch or dinner and then once for breakfast. And it was and again, the waiter there was such a nice, humble guy.
He was. It was very nice.
Yep. So that's going to get us to our next one for, well, I think this is higher up on your list maybe than mine. But no, I think they're the same. And that's just the ship overall.
It has great features.
There is a ton to do. So
I love the boardwalk.
Yep. So you're actually seeing a picture here of Whitney and Brandy on the boardwalk inside of the main pavilion. Here's me and Whitney. This is probably before we got off the boat one day. And it's just, I don't know, it just had great vibes. It's set up different than any other ship in that it's like there's neighborhoods.
Yeah.
There's a Central Park neighborhood.
That's what I was going to say. It's really nice.
And if you didn't look up and see, the balconies and stuff, you wouldn't even know you were not on land.
Yeah, it's just,
and
they have live music
and grass, and it's just like a little bistro neighborhood, really.
They had live music. Ellie loved. She danced and danced and danced.
Yeah, there's a boardwalk.
That was my favorite. And carousel.
That's where Johnny Rockets was. There was a carousel. You see the huge purple slides in the background. That's like a 10-story slide. Ellie loved that. She was on that all the time. They had a sports
bar, like a wing, like
Playmakers
bar.
Or something like that.
Some arcade games, a candy shop.
Yeah, it was just like kind of like a Coney Island fair.
I loved it. I loved the boardwalk.
So it was really awesome.
Made me feel like I was actually like at the beach and going to like Myrtle Beach, like Broadway at the beach, just a small condensed version.
And then also I thought there was a lot of good like shows.
Yeah. The water show was amazing.
There was a great juggling act.
Oh yeah.
The water show.
The ice skate
The water show is probably the best show I've ever seen on any cruise ship.
It was fascinating that someone can do high dive on a boat that's moving that fast.
Yeah, and like
there's 30, 40 there's foot. Like Olympic swimmers.
Yeah,
on that.
And so super talented people. I guess the show though, even though it's not the best show, and it probably depends on the personality of the people doing it. What I always remember is this Love and Marriage show.
Oh yeah.
Just because Tim and Brandy tried out to be on it, and it was so funny. There's actually a picture of everybody standing in line down there. Tim and Brandy, I think, is just off to the right side. It was just so funny.
It was so funny. It's so fun and lighthearted.
Yeah.
I love the game shows. I think.
Yeah, I love all of them.
I love the karaoke. Yep. That is my thing. I love karaoke.
Yep.
So
Whitney did. They actually had like a little American Idol type.
I just got second place.
Contest. Yeah, she got second, which out of hundreds of people trying out is good. So what they do, you go sing a night, and they pick 5 finalists, and then there's a second round where they have 5 more finalists. So Whitney went through the first night. As soon as she done it, everybody knew she was going on, and then she gets to the finalists, and you're at a bigger theater with a live band.
I did not like. I would rather do the soundtrack.
Yeah,
It's hard to sing with people you don't has never played for you.
Yeah, it was different. And
the choices of songs were
hard. They only give you like 20 songs to pick from. But I thought it was really...
It was fun.
It was fun.
And they had that Starbucks on the boat, and I got completely hooked on strawberry like refreshers or whatever. Or the pink... It was called is it the pink drink?
Pink drink from Starbucks.
Yeah, so I really like that, and I've been hooked on it since. But
yeah, that
pizza.
Was fun. Oh, yeah, they had great pizza.
You and Tim love pizza.
Yeah, I eat pizza every day. So before we move on, here's just a couple pictures again of the boardwalk, but you're seeing just how huge this ship is on the back side. And then there's our room. It's decorated. It was Whitney's birthday when we got on. I snuck and had them.
Those strawberries.
She had a cake and some chocolate
so
covered
good.
strawberries and all kinds of balloons.
I'm impressed by all of it. Balloons are my thing.
So I thought it was just really good. So I guess let's go to the next one now. And for me, I'm going to say this was my number 2. I think you're 3. And that was the Kennedy Space Center.
Yeah.
I thought.
Well, I could probably say that I feel like that is my number 2 because the other ones were tied at one.
Well, I just thought.
I liked it.
I would like to go back and just.
I just feel like I didn't have enough time.
Yeah, because, you had about an hour to get out there, hour back. So it cuts into the time there.
There's so much to see. So much to see.
My goodness, it was so great.
And I got my space ice cream. I've always liked that.
Yeah. And so I think what was crazy about it is you go to all these different places. One is talking about like the past of NASA.
Mm-hmm.
One's talking about the future. As you're driving in, you actually go by the SpaceX. So Elon Musk's building that he owns. And then on the other side of the road is Jeff Bezos' building. So all this technology is advancing at a rapid rate there. Talks about the future of NASA. But also kind of the Atlantis and the space shuttle is one of the things like, let's go, we've always heard about that. And so we go and you go in this huge room and it just shows you a show. There's a screen there. And then after that, it's talking about the development of the shuttle program and stuff. Well, after that, you go into another room with a huge screen. Not hardly an IMAX size screen, but maybe a normal theater size screen, just floor to ceiling screen. And it's just showing you footage of it, and it's talking some more about the history of it and the men and women that were on the shuttle, some of our astronauts. And then at the end, it kind of gets real dramatic. It goes, ladies and gentlemen, the Atlantis. And the screen kind of goes transparent, and you can see through the screen, and you see Atlantis, and you're like, well, that looks cool. Well, then the screen raises up, and you go, and the real Atlantis is there behind that screen.
It was fascinating.
And so there you're seeing, you're able to go. About that. And it was just amazing to see like all the burn marks on it where like the heat shield had faded away.
I love that.
It was just, I don't know.
It was really cool.
Incredible. But then, I don't know. I guess as long as I live, I'll remember this night. As we're leaving the Kennedy Space Center, the driver of the train that takes us back, she's like, well, just so y'all know, there's an app you can download that shows our schedule for when all the rocket launches are, and you can live stream all of them. I was like, well, that's cool. She said there's actually going to be one tonight at 3 a.m. And like our boat didn't leave that night until like 8 or 9. So we weren't going to be very far off the coast anyways. And she says, you all will be able to see this. Excellent. So we get up at 3 a.m, set our alarm, go out there, and honestly, out of 10,000 people,
me and Brady were trying to chase Tim and Clifton because they were walking so fast.
Well, we were wanting to get there. We didn't want to miss it.
I was half asleep.
But I bet there wasn't 10 people out there.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and that's counting me, you, Tim, Brandy, and my dad, and Cheston.
Yeah.
And Mom's regretting that she didn't. And just a couple other groups of people, and maybe 10 altogether. And so we go to the back of the boat. We kind of look which direction it should be, looking at a map. And we're watching this. And the lady told us, the live stream's going to be like 3 seconds behind. So once it gets to like 7, look on the horizon. So we do that. And so I'm showing you here, this is I didn't get a good picture of like it actually taking off, but you see kind of the smoke. So essentially on the horizon, you see an ignition. You see like fireball. And then all of a sudden you see the rocket, clear as day, takes off, and it comes right over top of the ship. So you kind of see some of the smoke off the back of the rocket as it goes over our boat. And this was one of Musk's, the SpaceX rockets. And so you see it detach, and then the actual rocket went out and landed in the ocean to be hauled back. And I was like, that was just so amazing to see a rocket launch from this boat, the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
I mean, it was incredible. So that was one of my absolute favorite things.
That was really cool.
So now let's get to your, it was my 5, just because we weren't there very long, but it was your favorite. I think you're number 1.
That's hard for me because so number 1 and 2 for me was Amish Country, Lancaster, and Hersey, Pennsylvania. The only reason, it's hard for me because I kind of can base the Amish Country when we went last time. But I just, in general, my personality, I'm like a real old soul type person. And I love the old, back ways. And I just really loved Amish Country because of that. Before we've done a lot of other things that I enjoyed. And Hershey, I just loved everything I ate there.
Yeah, I didn't think Hersey would be that great.
I could have stayed longer. We didn't get to.
Me and Tim with our blue raspberry slushies.
Mm-hmm.
I got that picture here. And then you see we're in a little cart with Tim and Brandy behind me and Whitney. And it was like a tour. And man, that was so much fun.
I loved
it was free.
I just loved it.
It wasn't super crowded.
Yeah, it was free. And it wasn't extremely costly. I'd like to go. I would really like to go back there and spend a little bit more time. Maybe go to the theme park. And then I would like to go back. I could go to Lancaster all the time.
Well, my brother and his family, I think they are going back this summer to Hersey. But now, Lancaster, let me say why this made my list. Okay, I'm going to go and show you kind of where we went. Tim and Brandy hadn't been to Amish Country. My mom and dad hadn't. We were all kind of traveling together. So we go, and we decide to stop at this place, Bird in Hand, and that's kind of like a little community outside of Lancaster, a little small city. But we got a Bird in Hand farmer's market.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to tell you. Oh, wait, first, it's kind of like a thrift store for the Amish. Like, there's, like, a little flea market type thing.
It's like a vendor's mall.
Yeah,
each
vendor's mall.
vendor is a different.
Yeah, each little booth has a different people. Most of them are cooking something.
Yeah, or bringing something.
I have some homemade whoopie pies are here.
I bought some
maybe
canned
homemade
stuff.
Quilts, clothes, just tons of stuff. Whatever you think.
And before he goes too crazy, I got crazy about the apple cider, and they had little samples of they had like a peach, and they had like apple. It was all apple cider flavors. And you could get a little cup for $0.25. And I don't know how many quarters I put in for that. Like, I don't know how many things of apple cider I drank.
Well,
I lost count.
This made the list for one reason. And I've thought about several times just on a weekend driving back, like the 6 or 7 hour drive just for this. We go out and we were thinking about lunch and we didn't know when we were going to stop. And Tim and Brandy had like these chicken strips. And they're like, hey, these are good.
I had gotten something, but
I tried one, and let me tell you,
I didn't try them. But I watched them make them.
The best chicken strips I've ever had. So here's essentially what happens: you go and you put in your order for chicken strips. They have like a chicken breast hanging there, and they kind of just carve off a real thin strip of white chicken. So clean.
And then they have like
and
batter made
in dip it in batter, drop it in the deep
fryer.
Their
batter is made.
It's like a foot-long chicken strip, really thin, which I love.
The batter's made like in a pitcher.
Yeah.
And they just pour it in a bowl, and they dipped it and fried it. And there's a lot of people eating there, too. Like, it was like a little bar set up where you could take a stool, and there's a lot of people
I would
there.
drive back there if I was going to do nothing else other than eat those chicken strips.
Well, we'll go. Let's go. I'm ready anytime.
I mean,
I'm ready for a trip.
Unbelievable.
I love car rides with Clifton. We have a good time.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. I can't put into words.
But I just really liked the atmosphere of both of those places. I enjoyed them. I had forgotten about some other places we stopped. So for me, honestly, most of the things I had there are all ties because I liked them all just as much.
And so we'll wrap up with this. My number one really had nothing to do with where we went, but it was, I think, just going with all those people.
It was me. I know.
Yeah. Traveling.
It's my birthday.
Traveling with family and friends, I think, makes it so much more fun. And going with people that had never done that before.
Yeah, it's like looking at it through a kid.
That. Yeah, with Ellie there, and then Tim and Brandy, and my brother, and my mom and dad, and our sister-in-law. It was just, I don't know, it was just amazing.
It was fun.
To be with a group of people and have so much fun.
To me, traveling, the more people, the better.
The better, yeah. So we just had a ball.
We had a good time.
It was amazing. And just, can't wait to travel all together again. But now
we will be soon. Not all of us, but some of us.
Yeah. But I love the Oasis. I would go back on that boat if
I will go even if it goes to the Bahamas, and I'm not crazy about getting out, but I would love to take a trip up through, the northern part.
Here's one thing I would say. If you're going on a smaller boat, the destination really matters.
Yeah.
If you're going to Alaska or, even the Bahamas the first time you're cruising. But if you find a good deal, like on Oasis or one of these mega boats,
that
like the Carnival Mardi Gras,
like.
Who cares? You never have to get off the boat, and you would have the
boat.
best vacation you have ever had.
Yeah.
You get on, and it's just like.
But usually one of them will go to a really nice island anyway. So if you like the beach, that's.
But even if the beach isn't your thing, and it's going to the Bahamas, it doesn't matter. You could have the perfect vacation.
Some people love the Bahamas. They love the atmosphere. Yeah. It's just whatever.
Yeah. But the
boat is fun.
I loved it. I can't wait to go back.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought it was a great trip.
Yep.
So,
we love traveling, so.
Yep. So if, I guess with that, we'll kind of start to wrap up anything before we close.
And I think that was all, but we did enjoy that trip.
Yep. Oasis is great. So,
makes me want to be back.
If you got questions about cruises, hit us up.
Remember, Clifton can help you out on that.
Yep. I'm still doing the travel agent thing. If you want to give it a go, doesn't cost anything. Just let me help you plan one. Or, guys, even if it's not that, just if you have questions about traveling, you want to know.
We have a Facebook page, Kentucky Couple. So
yeah, or just shoot us an email, and we're excited to just talk about travel. So with that, see you next time. Thanks for listening.
See ya.